Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome back to the KSR YouTube channel. You can't see my door code. No, can't see that. It's a foggy morning this morning. It's cold. It's like 45, and that's extra cold for this Florida boy. But I get to go to the PRI show this weekend where it's going to be like 20 for a high. Whew. Actually, by the time this video is coming out, I'll be in Indy freezing my toes off. A little shop update. We got a new window. This one broke just randomly came in one day, and it had a split through it. So had to get that fixed just because it, who knows if it was going to like break and fall in. And I guess that one is like some shatterproof tempered thing. So that's like an upgrade. Shop upgrades are cool too, right? I mean, I think they're cool because, well, I own the shop. So, you know, anytime you can improve something, it's a good thing. Let's go work on the Blazer. All right, well, while you're here, please subscribe to the channel. And as usual, if you want some KSR merch, winwithksr.com. And you can also use winwithksr.com to buy any of the parts you need for your race car or street rod or hot rod, you know, kind of like these guys do. Or you can just call us, 352-225-1210, and we can help you on the phone get the parts you need for your car. I got to say that occasionally, right? It's a business. Anyways, quick walk through the shop. We got Reno's down to get the core support out for powder coat, hopefully today. The fuel cell is out for anodizing, the methanol fuel cell. We had to add a drain to it because we forgot to put the drain on it, and we had to use the siphon tube to get it out of there, which we did. So we're taking all of this stuff to the anodize place, are going to ship it down to them. Actually, thankfully there's one in Ocala that we can use, and they will hard anodize the tank as well as all the other things in that batch over there, because methanol will get some surface corrosion on the aluminum, and then that gets washed into the fuel injectors, and then that's a bad thing. So just to recap where we were last weekend on the Blazer, we almost have the thing where it will sit the body directly on the frame. Now, I do think that these front mounts are bent, or it could just be that I've got where my contact points are in the middle of the body. That's kind of got the body tipped back on the frame a little bit. Although I don't know, because looking at it, the mount that's in here is closer to the body mounts that are back there. Actually, I think it's this one is the closest, and then this one's a little bit farther away, and then it's about the same on the very back mount. So we're actually going to be getting rid of this tube here, and my plan for today is gonna lift the body back up off the frame for one, and then we're gonna cut out the floor right there like I had mentioned in the last video, because we're going to cut out some of this rustiness here, because the frame is right there and we want to attach here to there to strengthen it all up. So I'm going to actually cut out this old patch. So we'll just get in there with the cutoff wheel, come across. I'll probably, I don't know, we'll do something down through there. I'm just going to cut out this whole patch area on both sides, and then I'm going to cut out those areas back there. So I got to hop in this thing with the cutoff wheel and go to town. So I'm going to lift it up just off the frame a little bit. That way it's not way up in the air for it to fall off the lift, which I don't think it's going to fall off the lift, but you know, better safe than sorry. So enough yapping, because I've got a busy day today. And I know the guys are going to need me up front. So I'm going to be running back and forth between all of that. But we've got to get some work done on this thing, because tomorrow we leave for the PRI show. Which, like I said earlier, is probably where we are all at right now. Up in Indy at the convention center. Anyways, my brain is thinking ahead. I'm still waking up. Let's get to work. Yeah. I am real good at making a mess and cutting holes in floorboards. But it's going to be better. So in the middle of all that, I had the thought that I'm wondering if the drive shaft is going to be close to the transmission tunnel. So I'm not going to patch those back in until after everything is back down on the chassis permanent and we have the engine mocked up and I'm able to put the weight on the rear axle as well. So that, we're going to go in and trim this off because this piece and this piece are the same piece. So I can come in here and clean this off with a grinder. And then when I land the new floor will be up here. You won't even be able to tell there was a weirdly shaped Actually, it's probably not weird. There's probably a reason why it did all this stuff, but we're gonna go in and got a little bit of rust there, which I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of thinking about trying to find some kind of mini tubs for it, whether they're aluminum to remove some weight. I just have to find some that have that same arc to them, or make my own, which if I do aluminum, yeah, I could actually do that. That's a thought. And then just rivet it to the other flange. The wheels are spinning. Just got to find some traction. Yeah. So I need to cut this off, or at least I'm probably going to take a cutoff wheel and maybe try to go just like a 1/2 inch above this, or maybe I'll just come in here and cut it off flat and then reshape the refish mouth it so that we can make another one of these and weld it to the frame. Because right now the frame is about here, like the bottom of the frame. So this is hanging off the bottom, and we definitely don't want that. I'm gonna cut this off with a cutoff wheel, or I may poke a hole in the top of there, like take a hole saw through the floor and get that thing out from the top, because we don't need that in there. Probably do both sides, honestly, because it's probably rusted into both of them. And then I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's going to be a piece that basically goes from this plane right down to this plane. So then I'll just kind of smush it in there and tack weld it and smear some seam sealer on it. Be good enough for what we're doing here, because that's basically all how it was done stock. Check out how that's ripped right there. That's not stock. That's probably from, you know, landing wheelies and stuff. And you can definitely see how this mount is, or this body is squished up in there. See how, like, yeah, it's curved, bent up, where that side isn't. So my plan is to just grind this right here, and then we're gonna make a plate that just goes from the face of that to the face of that. And then we'll TIG weld it in there. Let's see, I think I need to maybe bonk up on this a little bit with a hammer, because that's right on top of the frame rail, and I'm gonna grind off these little spots where it had a self-tapper in it or some kind of factory hole. I'm gonna grind this off, that little lip right there. I need to trim a little on this spot right here. Might trim some of this out, like I might just go ahead and continue this on around where it's over the frame rail, and then I'll be able to come back in and weld this top edge, or I guess it's the bottom edge, to the top edge of the frame rail. Still got to grind that off too, where the transmission cooler was mounted. And if it turns out that I need to put a tunnel in this thing, well, we'll go ahead and get rid of this support plate, because I am going to put a drive shaft loop in the thing. And it's going to be on kind of its own cross member under here. Yeah, we're getting there. Had to clean up my mess because I want to drop it back down and slide up under it and actually put some marks on the frame to see what I want to be real precise on where it drops down and it fits the frame nice, so I don't have to add pieces back in to weld between the frame and the body. So, and I don't know if you saw how dirty my mask was, but that was white this morning before I started. And I'm probably quite dirty myself. I don't know. Anyways, let's get back to work. I'm tired, but we're there. Thank goodness. I mean, I can put a little weld up in there. And as it turns out, you know, kind of like we talked about at the beginning of the video, we've got a frame rail in here. Easily tie that in and then plate back around it. I'm kind of really thinking about buying mini tubs, even though it doesn't need them. But if I did the mini tubs to the like middle of the frame rail, I don't know. We'll chase that when we get a little closer. But also, there's frame rail there. So I'm gonna run some kind of, you know, diagonal bar. Maybe it's to the side, maybe it's to something, just so that the cage is a little bit more on top of the frame instead of it just being tied to the side. Like, I kind of think that's a good idea. So might have a touch more work to do on the driver's side, but all that will be worked out before the next video. Short week for us this week because we are now headed to PRI, which I think I mentioned earlier in this video too. It's been one of those weeks just like where it's 100 miles an hour all the time to get stuff worked out, but real excited with how low it sits on the frame. You can see we are sitting on the frame there. Gonna be able to weld that. Same with over here, sitting right on top of the frame. And I believe the thing I'm gonna do next week is actually mount the gas tank so that I can get that shock cross member in there. And then I'm gonna maybe have to order some different coilover shock mounts. Even though we're not using coilover shocks, I'm using coilover shock mounts to give us adjustability in the shock height. So just look at how low that is. And that's without the spring being squished up. And it might need a C-notch. Wait, no, we didn't get the frame any tighter. It didn't need a C-notch before. What am I talking about? Although I guess if I raise the front of the spring, that would bring the rear end housing closer to the frame rail. We'll dig into that in the next episode, which will be next week, which is the week of the Christmas tree drags. So we've got a lot of stuff to show you. Well, we've got a couple new things we're doing for the Christmas tree drags this year. So stay tuned for that. And once again, thank you all for watching, subscribing, following along, leaving a comment, all that good stuff. See ya.